Hello.
Hello.
Hello, who are you?
I'm Little Boots.
Hello, nice to meet you, Little Bit.
Nice to meet you too.
So what have you been up to this morning?
This morning I've been doing a shoot for a magazine, so a big fashion-y editorial shoot, which was fun. That's about it really.
Did you like the clothes?
I did really like the clothes actually, yeah. I mean it was some designers that wear quite a lot and some new ones. There was one thing that looked kind of like a cross between a straight jacket and a hairdresser's gown, which wasn't great, but we didn't use that. Otherwise all good.
So you live in Dalston?
I do, yeah.
Do you like the area?
It's got its pros and cons.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good Turkish food.
Oh, it does indeed, yeah. Has the area influenced your sound at all?
The area, I'm afraid I don't think Dalston has influenced the sound of the new record, but who knows?
So we've heard 2 songs off the new record, so tell us a little bit about the new record. Are you working on it at the moment or is it complete?
It's pretty much there. I think it's like 90–95% there, so it's just like the finishing bit, but it's almost the most important and kind of hardest bit in some ways. So, but yeah, I mean all the songs are there definitely, so yeah, it's exciting.
And so have you got a release date in mind yet?
We have a potential one. I don't want to say something and commit, but yeah, definitely like later on this year, kind of autumn time.
I think about 2 years ago you did an interview and you said that your new album will be rawer and a bit more down to earth. Did you find that's what it is now, or? In
some ways, there's a lot of stuff about like space and things on the last album, so I think I've got over my space fantasy phase, which is probably good for me as a person as well as an artist. I mean, I guess it's raw in the way that I felt the last album was very produced and there was a lot of sounds, and you know, some songs I just felt like we threw the kitchen sink at, which at the time I wanted to create this big, fantastical soundscape, you know, that you lost yourself in, whereas now I'm very much like, does this sound need to be in here? Is this sound important? Is it right? And stripping away anything that feels like it's just cluttering. So I guess in that respect it's kind of raw.
Yeah. So the first single we heard off this new album, Every Night, it's been fantastically received when we heard the song. Like, people are just raving about it, really fresh about it. Where the video's been having a bit of a mixed response. Have you been reading the responses?
I mean, I try not to, because I learned a long time ago, if you read things that people say about you online, you'll probably end up doing something bad, like being very upset.
Yeah.
And you know, you can't please everybody, you never can. I mean, I think we were probably too ambitious with that video for the resources we had to make it, and I've learned a lesson from that. But I think if you know, some people love it, and I think if you get the references, I've got really into the kind of early New York house ballroom scene and the whole Vogue, like early voguing thing, and Paris is Burning, and if you get the references, I think like those are the people who really like it. But I kind of get that it's lost on some people, and maybe we're a bit ambitious.
Do you think of yourself as a pop star?
I always get this question. I love it. It's a difficult question. I guess I consider myself a pop artist. I'll never stop writing pop songs.
Yeah.
I think the star thing is a bit of a weird, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you consider yourself a pop star, it feels kind of arrogant to me. I don't know, I guess it's like, to me pop stars are Madonna. I don't feel like Madonna, but I'd say that I'm a pop artist and a pop musician.
What do you make of the state of the music industry?
Oh my god, that's like, we'd have to be here for about 6 hours to understand. It's a bloody mess.
Yeah. Do you download music illegally?
Yeah, only when I can't find it. Like quite often for my DJ sets and things, it's something that especially if something rare, you can't actually get it on iTunes. It's quite difficult to get.
Yeah.
I mean, I try not to. If I'm buying an album, I don't like the idea of buying a whole album. Like to me, that is kind of just stealing a whole cake rather than a little slice. But you probably should differentiate.
Yeah. Does it, if a fan downloads your music illegally, does that bother you?
It doesn't. I mean, if it's a song, it kind of doesn't bother me. When it's the album, that really feels like, for me, it's something I put so much of my time and emotion and thought into, you know, and I really do put a lot of love into making an album. I know we made 2, well, 1 and 1.9. But you know, that feels like a real thing. So if someone to just take that, it does feel a bit like, oh, just taking the whole thing for nothing. But I think that the answer is not legal or illegal or free or not, it's like the music industry will find some other way of doing things, I'm sure. And as long as there's talented people making content that other people want, someone will find a way to make money from it and exploit it. So I think maybe it's just a funny time and things will settle, and in 5 years it'll be completely different again.
Yeah, or hopefully these fans at least support you by coming to the show or buying your T-shirt or things like that.
Really, record sales are absolutely nothing compared to live income now, and other kind of deals you can do. That record income has actually become the smallest part of it.
Do you feel under pressure by your record label at all, with the way the music industry's become? Like you're 3 years old now.
Yeah, I mean, the way my label works is kind of weird because I'm on an imprint of a major, but the major label, you know, they're just having big success with Ed Sheeran, and I think they just, with the new direction I've taken and stuff, they can't figure out how to sell it in Tesco's, and so that's a real problem for them. And I kind of understand that from a financial perspective, you know. I mean, it's difficult. Yeah.
Are they trying to influence your sound?
They don't try and influence it. I think they just I think the industry sees things very, you know, that like so many people are like, come on, what are you? Can you just decide? Are you a pop star or are you like an indie underground kind of artist? Can you just decide, please? And I'm like, this is not my decision, really. You know, I'm never going to stop writing pop songs or making pop music. I'm wanting to reach a lot of people, but I'm never going to want to do it in a totally generic way. So I always end up in this middle ground, which I think they just can't quite understand. It's like, we need to throw a load of money at it and try and get it in the charts and hope that it will work itself out, or it needs to be a super cool, trendy thing that we do organically, and no one can really handle stuff that's in the middle. And I've really just come around to the fact that I'm going to stop worrying about that and stop trying to be one or the other and just be like, this is what it is. I'm trying to make interesting pop music. If you don't like it, bugger off.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
At the end of the day, in the time of history, like at the end of the day, nobody will ever look back to who your record label were, who your management were. They'll base you on what you put out as an artist.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, that's what matters.
You know, I think I've been pretty consistent as a kind of wonky pop artist, really. So I don't see why I should start deciding now which I'm going to be, you know.
Especially since you've already made your debut, so you've
it's just not that black and white to me. So I think maybe there's a lot of people overthinking it.
And what do you make of the press? Like in 2009, you won the BBC Sound Critics' Choice. You were like, there's just so much hype surrounding that. Do you feel pressured at all to deliver?
I think it's kind of feels unpressured now. There's a lot more pressure then when I was literally trying to finish the album whilst the phone wouldn't stop ringing and I was doing 4 photo shoots a day or something. So I guess in a weird way there's less pressure now. I mean, there's that pressure of like, oh, are you going to follow that up with something similar? But so many things have changed and the whole landscape of the music industry has changed. I don't really see how you could follow up with something similar. It's got to be different one way or the other. But yeah, I think the pressure was kind of worse then. It's just a different kind of pressure. I mean, I'm never going to stop putting myself under pressure. That's the kind of person I am, and yeah.
And do you know when we'll be hearing a third single off the album?
Yes, probably around the album time, which will be autumn.
Cool. Well, I look forward in hearing it, and thanks for taking the time out this morning to chat. Lovely to meet you.